Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment, click the bell icon for notifications to know when I go live. Crush the thumbs up. I see literally no thumbs up right now. Need a little love, need a little support. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on YouTube. You can even follow me on Instagram and TradingView. One word, it is Crypto Bull God. No underscores, nothing like that. I hope everyone has had a great weekend. It was a very challenging day for me today. Took a rest day from the gym. Very hard for me to stay out of the gym. Very, very hard for me to stay out of the gym. Took a rest day today. Feeling a little lethargic today. Didn't even set the alarm. Slept in. Feeling a little lethargic. I don't know how late how late of a night it's gonna be for me. Otherwise, a good weekend. Had a little bit of a rather disappointing time on Sunday. Long and short is, if you've been following me for a little while, you know I have a 2001 Acura Integra. Parts for that car are very hard to find. OEM parts are very, very hard to find, and so I'm trying to replace the interior and paint certain parts into black, because the original interior was beige, which is ugly color. Done a lot of great work on it. A lot of it is black, but the main dash in the front of the car, very hard to find good condition one. If you find one, the shipping and the cost is astronomical. My friend who's a mechanic found a 2001 Acura Integra with a good-looking dash, black dash, that had just gotten taken to a salvage yard 3.5 weeks ago. We got there, that thing was stripped clean. So we did not get it. So I'm going to be doing just a daily search every morning to see when there's a new Integra taken into a recent close by salvage yard here that I can scoop up a dash. So, but anyway, other than that, good weekend. I hope everyone had an opportunity. If you did not, I'm going to share this with you super, super quick here. I can't share this with you without... Whoop. That's not what I wanted to do. Well, we'll do this. I just released this video last night. As you know, I was saying that I was going to go live yesterday at 8 p.m. on Sunday to cover the weekly closes. Instead, I felt very compelled to create this video. Now, what this video is, it's a little lengthy, but I think it's worth your time to really listen to. I tried to condense down what I view are the key clips that really show why Gary Gensler is being disingenuous, and he was either lying, he was lying years ago or he's lying today. It's one or the other, because there's factual information I point to here where he's contradicting himself. I also point to videos where, you have a handful of people saying one thing, but Gary's saying completely something different. Have a little bit of funny narration in there, but I think it's well worth the watch. So I would check that out. I opted to create that instead of live streaming the TA. But we are going to get back to the charts today. Kathleen, welcome in. You are the enforcer. I see a few people trying to get the love that this channel needs. What we're going to do, given a lot of the salty price action going on with altcoins, I believe, again, I'm always thinking about what is in the best interest of my audience here in terms of what you should be focusing on. And it's the same things that I focus on. So I think in an environment like this where things can get very emotional, there are two things that we want to do. Number one, we want to ask ourselves, what are the key charts that we need to look at? So we're going to look at what I view as a bunch of key charts, and we want to ask ourselves what's going on in those key charts. The second thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we're zooming out. When in doubt, zoom out. Higher time frame price action is going to lend itself to a more macro, big picture view in terms of, is everything okay? Are we in jeopardy of losing anything here from a bullish narrative? Or, is everything just par for the course here and we're experiencing some just, wicked volatility in a very immature market? So with that being said, let's get into it. Now, I have several charts that I'm looking to cover today, so I don't know how much time we're really going to have to get to TA Q&A. We'll see how much time we have after I ramble through a bunch of charts here. And as always, if I don't get the TA Q&A today, I will make sure to allot enough time for that tomorrow. But let's chug along here and see what we got. Now, this is the typical 12-hour chart, actually, that we take a look at. We'll take a look at the 12-hour in a moment, but I'm actually looking at a 2-day. And the reason I wanted to point out the 2-day, let's ignore the price indicators. We are in a falling wedge. If you recall, there was a valid falling wedge drawn earlier here, which was valid. It was drawn like this, and we've sort of invalidated that at this point. As you accumulate more price data, your view of the charts obviously evolves with the emerging price data, right? So this is a valid falling wedge on the 2-day. So I did want to point that out. The other thing I wanted to point out, I haven't even looked at the 12-hour today. Okay, so what's going on in the 12-hour chart is not what we want to see, okay? We're seeing a deviation of price further and further away from the 250. And what that's causing the 50 to do is to steepen its decline below the 200. That is not what we wanted to see, and I've spoken to this. I spoke to this last week. Also, the 200 right now, and you can see the extent to which it's curling up, it's sort of flattened out here. As we continue to maintain prices at this level here, the other risk that it causes to this 12-hour chart is for this to begin to flatten, which is fine, but then for it to start to curl down. We don't want to see that, right? We really need price action this week to have some form of a recovery, guys. We can't be hanging out down here at $25,000 for the next couple weeks. That would not be good for prices. We want to see some sort of recovery here to shoot back up towards, we can take out this line because it's not as relevant anymore, around $27,000, okay? We really need to see some form of a recovery in here. So the 12-hour chart, I'm not liking the way this is looking. We do have bullish divergence. We do have bullish divergence here, but I want to see some sort of recovery this week. I really want to see prices get back up at this 27,200 area, which is the 200 simple moving average. We'll have to see how this plays out. Weekly, this is still in place. So let's talk about what's going on in the weekly, obviously, on a higher time frame. We really want to make sure we understand what's going on. Thumbs up for everyone new tuning in. Jorge, I see you. Welcome in, brother. We still have the inverse head and shoulders. We still have a falling wedge here. Okay, this is all still valid. The one thing I don't like about this chart, and there's probably actually a couple things I don't like about this chart that we'll talk about. The first is look what happened on the weekly candle. I said last week we wanted to see, most importantly, a close at or above the 200 simple moving average at 26,400. We got a close below it at, around 25,900, right? Not bullish, guys, not bullish. Now, the other thing that I don't like to see, look at momentum. Not to mention the fact that we were getting this negative cross down in the MACD, which is not good. But the stochastic RSI, no momentum here. Okay, we have a negative cross, and we're below 20. In order for this thing to kick back up and get some sort of positive cross up, we need to see some momentum come back into this market. We need to see something happen where there's momentum coming back into this market. Actually, interestingly enough, the RSI is not at an unhealthy level. It's at just about 52, which is not bad at all. But this stochastic RSI, we need to see this thing turn around, and as well as the MACD. Now, what will be interesting at the end of this week is, and I'll have to consider as the week moves on. If I say I'm going to live stream on Sunday, this time I want to stick with it. But we're going to get a 2-week candlestick close. So not only is it important to zoom out and look at a weekly candlestick, not only is it important to zoom out and look at a monthly candlestick, but there's also some significance in the 2-week candlesticks as well. And Jorge, to your point of the SEC, as much as I put out this emotional video and I'm at, I would say the most heightened state of anger I've ever been in since I've been in this space for 6 years, I really do believe everything is all in the charts. So as much as we want to say the SEC this and the SEC that, I believe that I know this is counterintuitive to most people, but I believe that the news follows the charts, not the other way around, that the charts follow the news. That is my view. Oh, the other view I wanted to take a look at with you guys, and we've spoken about this before. So, by the way, the inverse head and shoulders is still in play here. We have a falling wedge. The only things I don't like about the weekly right now: one, we got to close below the 200 simple moving average, and two, the price indicators. I don't like the MACD and I don't like the stochastic RSI, and we just covered that. The other thing I wanted to take a look at with you guys, real quick. Now, this is a unique view. We've covered this chart plenty of times on this channel. This is this 125 simple moving average on the 3-day chart. I've covered the historical significance of that. Technically, what could happen and what would still be healthy from a long-term perspective, although it would certainly begin to put into doubt all-time highs this year. If we saw some sort of drop-off, again, it would not be surprising to see a drop-off around 22,000, we'll call it 300, okay? And the reason is because I've stated, and all we can do is use history as our guidance for this, when we've had significant price action below the 125, once we recapture it with the candle body close, at worst, all we've done in the past, okay, in a bullish uptrend, is we've recaptured this line and kind of gravitated to it and continued to move up. Although it's also quite possible, looking at the past, that we never even touched this line. I'm not telling you with certainty or even a high probability that we're going to come down here and touch this line, but it's certainly a possibility looking at the past. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But as you could also see, we're in a falling wedge here as well. Is there any bullish divergence on the RSI? No bullish divergence. None. But we do have a falling wedge on the RSI as well. All right. We're going to get into some unique charts. I just popped up right before I came on the live stream here. I pulled up a few unique charts. I haven't even had an opportunity to really chart. We're going to take a look at it firsthand, and I'll tell you why I pulled them up. If you appreciate the content, ladies and gentlemen, you have to crush the thumbs up button, else I can't get this content out to everybody else. People can't see me go on a tirade about Gary, Tyrant, Fucktard, Gensler. All right, this is Ethereum. Now, let me tell you what the probability has increased for Ethereum. I told you, remember we gave a golf clap? We gave a little golf clap to Ethereum. Yes, you've maintained 1,800, but I said, Ethereum, what I don't like about you is the more you kind of hang out at 1,800 and bounce off of it, it's not expressing support. The more times you continue to bounce off of it, that area of resistance is going to weaken and you're going to break below it. Look what we did. We broke below 1,800. I don't like to see that. Now, the probability has increased significantly that Ethereum could potentially backtest this area right here. Why do I say that? Well, the reason, and I would say there's another area of support. Let me draw in another area of support. I would say there's another area. Oh, yeah, well, there's price confluence right at the moving average, so I'm not going to draw that in. I would say there's another area of price confluence right around there. The reason that the probability has significantly increased that Ethereum could backtest the moving averages, okay, similar to here, is because we just broke a key area of price confluence and we're below it, right? So it should theoretically act as resistance to try to get back above it. It does look like we have another region of support right in the $1,600 area, but it would not shock me. It would not shock me one bit to see some sort of volatility come down here towards this $1,500 level. Again, Ethereum can wick all the way down to 1,500 and I could care less. Where I would start to get concerned is if Ethereum started rolling over and doing this. Now, I don't expect it, but it's certainly a possibility, right? And we start coming down to this area at like 1,400. Now we're under the moving averages, okay, on the weekly. I would not like to see that. That's expressing a lot of weakness. Again, hopefully you can tell based on how I'm commenting on these charts, as much as I am a bull, I am the motherfucking crypto bull god. It doesn't mean I'm going to assess a chart and tell you something bullish when there isn't something bullish going on, right? I don't like the fact we dropped below 1,800. I want to see price area maintained ultimately from a candle body close perspective around this $1,500 area. Let's look at price indicators. Again, weakness. RSI is same as Bitcoin around 50. We're getting a cross down on MACD, which is not good. And we also have a cross down and it's below 20, similar to Bitcoin on the stochastic RSI. So again, momentum is just not there right now, right? A lot of sandy vaginas. A lot of sandy vaginas are coming back to the market. And I had tweeted out, I'm not going to go to my Twitter page here because I've tweeted quite a few things out. in the course of the past 48 hours. But I had tweeted out with the price action we saw on Saturday. You know, I woke up on Saturday. I woke up and came to my computer here, poured myself a cup of Joe. I sat down. I was like, all right, well, let's assess the price action. Opened up the watch list. Harmony One's down 20%. Cardano's down 25%. Matic's down like 25%. I was like, Christ, what just happened? So the level of volatility that came in this weekend was quite interesting, right? And so what I commented to everyone was, there's really two schools of thought here. You really think everything is going to zero, okay? Or we're just experiencing a high degree of volatility within the market, which is par for the course, right? I have never come on this channel and stated to you certainties, right? I have stated to you probabilities, and I've stated to you what I believe is most likely, right? It doesn't mean that we couldn't see the level of downside in altcoins that we have seen. The last point I want to make before we get into some of these charts here, we'll look at ETH. Actually, with ETH BTC, there's nothing new to report here. It's a very positive. Actually, let me save this commentary. Let me just make this point real quick. I'm jumping around. You cannot expect the potential for your altcoin to do a 50x, for something to go from a penny up to 50 cents. You cannot expect that degree of appreciation in an asset without the risk of what we're seeing right now, without that sharp downward volatility. Are you kidding me? Welcome to crypto, okay? So the level of volatility that we're seeing in the market right now, again, the price action on Saturday took me by surprise. But when you actually sit back and you evaluate the charts, there isn't anything overly concerning. And this is what I'm trying to cover in these charts here to make you feel that while we are seeing some weakness and we're seeing some momentum, issues with momentum, okay, and breaking some areas of support, which will now act as resistance, there isn't anything fundamentally changing about the charts. And I probably should hit on this. Again, the really key thing that you want to keep in mind when you look at something like Bitcoin, we have a low, a higher low, and a higher low, and we're creating the higher highs, right? That is what you need to be mindful of and you need to be paying attention to. Bitcoin could wick all the way down to here, and we still have higher lows coming in. Yes, we would reassess the charts at that point and ask ourselves if a new all-time high this year is really realistic if that were to occur. But structurally, it doesn't change the bullish narrative. Higher highs, higher lows. I should have hit on that before. Ethereum, again, as much as we're expressing weakness here, we're still getting this rounding bottom. There's still a rounding bottom playing out. And do I really need to draw more circles? We have a low, a higher low, a higher low, and a higher low, okay? I understand that the price action on Saturday took you and me by surprise, but it doesn't change fundamentally what's going on in the most critical charts that we should be paying attention to. Ethereum BTC, with all the volatility we're seeing, are we seeing a breakdown in terms of the strongest altcoin that's going to be our leader in terms of signaling? It's almost like you can think of it this way. Ethereum is signaling to the rest of the altcoins it's time to go. Well, we're not seeing a breakdown here, guys. We've been following this chart forever. It's consolidating up in this area here. Okay, so there's nothing fundamentally breaking down with Ethereum where we're starting to break down like this, right? That is very good for your altcoins. Let's get into the total market cap, and I will get to some of your questions. I see a few coming in here. This is the entire cryptocurrency market cap. Is there anything overly concerning going on? No, we still have higher highs and higher lows going in, but let's have a conversation about what just occurred. I have an area right here. Got to turn it into resistance now. We're gravitating right at 1 million. Wow. We are in deep, deep trouble if the entire cryptocurrency market cap is 1 million. The entire crypto market cap is 1 trillion. We're just over 1 trillion. I said that was the key area to keep an eye on, right? So while we broke below this area, and you could probably even, and this is why I don't get too cute with price areas. I mean, you could draw it like this. You could draw it like this. So it's debatable if we've broken down. There's a zone, right, as I always say. The point is we have broken down here, but the more fundamental question we need to ask ourselves on this chart is, Are we breaking the bullish structure, right? Are we breaking the higher time frame bullish structure? Well, the answer is no, because the way that we can identify whether the structure is being broken, are we taking out the higher highs and higher lows, okay? We still have these higher lows coming in, right? And we still have these higher highs coming in. So there isn't anything as painful as it is to see your altcoins breaking down that is changing within this chart from a higher time frame perspective. Again, bearish. We have a cross on this MACD. Do not like to see it. Momentum is not good. Stochastic RSI is below 20, and the RSI is at 47. So price indicators are certainly not the greatest. We need to see momentum come into the market. Now, this isn't a unique chart. I wanted to take a look at with you guys. I'll take a look at this one, and then I'm going to jump to your questions here. I pulled this up right before I started live streaming, and I thought it would be interesting to look at together. This is and I want to look at the dominance as well. Maybe we'll pull that up and do it together. This is the total market cap minus the total 3 market cap. So what would that represent? Well, that would be if your total market cap is everything and your total 3 are all of the altcoins excluding Ethereum, what that means is you're left over with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So total minus total 3 is Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's what we're charting here. We're charting the cryptocurrency market cap for what makes up approximately 70% of the market. You can see 712, we can do the math here, 712 billion relative to 1.02 trillion. We're saying that this comprises 71% of the market. Okay, and this is Bitcoin and Ethereum. So it'll be interesting to chart this together and see what observations we can formulate here. MACD has just gotten a cross down. Now these, if you think about it, if we're charting Bitcoin and Ethereum, much of the commentary we just spoke to should translate to this chart, right? And you can see from a stochastic RSI and MACD perspective as well as the RSI, everything's lining up with what we already spoke to. Let's look at price action. We can put a 50 on here. We can put a 200. Okay, so we're maintaining ourselves above the 200, which is great to see. The 50 wants to curl back up, which is great. One other observation I have. Oh, well, this would make sense because a lot of this is driven by Bitcoin. You also have Ethereum in there. We definitely have a falling wedge. There's absolutely no debating that. And again, because we're charting 2 of the projects that we just took a look at and we're combining them together like Voltron, for all those going back to an 80s reference there. Hey. The chart of both of them combined should look very similar. You can see we also have an inverse head and shoulders. Shoulder and a head, right? So not surprising. But in this case, a lot of the strength of Ethereum is kind of holding us up above the 200 on this chart. Because again, Bitcoin's below the 200, Ethereum is above it. You weight them together, we're above the 200 simple moving average. So yeah, nothing too crazy going on. There's clearly an area of price confluence here. This chart though, once we start to see things turn around, by the way, guys, once we start to see things turn around, whether it's this week, next week, or the following week, whatever it is, again, we still have 3 weeks left in the month of June. I've been stressing this, that we're like a third of the way through the month. 20 days is a lot of days in the crypto market, 18, 19 days, whatever it is, okay? I want to reiterate this because I said this on Friday and the weekend has not changed anything for me. I am still anticipating June to be a very bullish month for crypto. I am still anticipating at this point, given the level of volatility we have seen, on monthly candlesticks, you're going to see some large wicks to the downside. We are going to close above where we're at, okay? That is my view until something significant changes in these charts. If we just continue, obviously, if we just do one of these things and we just consolidate like this, yes, we're going to revisit in July this whole notion of creating an all-time high this year because it's going to put into significant doubt, more than likely for me, if I at least... Let me choose my words carefully. I don't know if it's significant doubt, but it'll put a moderate amount of doubt in my mind if we don't make a significant move this month. And we've spoken about that before. So we'll have to evaluate in the coming weeks here. But we still have a few weeks left in this month. So this is a really interesting chart. Again, it kind of mirrors the price action that we're seeing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. But It's very important to monitor this chart as well, because this is the chart that's going to take off before your smaller alts. You're going to see things pick up in Bitcoin and Ethereum before you start to see a lot of your other altcoins, which would be your total 3 here, begin to pick up. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's see what comments you have here. Mr. BBC, that is me. Do you see XRP going on a bull run alone? Absolutely not. You know, XRP and XLM sometimes like to do their own thing, and you'll see when things really start to pick up, you'll see them up 20, 30%, and the rest of the market is stagnant, and then the next day or 2 days later, you'll see that they're stagnant, down 1% or something, down 3%, the rest of the market's up 30%. But no, I do not. There's nothing until that would actually happen. There's nothing in history that says XRP is just going to run off and do its own thing and the rest of the market's just going to be left behind. No, I don't believe that for one iota of a second. No pun intended on iota. It is sad we can't get people to hit the thumbs up. I know. Thumbs up, everybody. Kathleen holding the fort down. I thought you had a question. I know CBG holds our attention, but it takes only 1 second. Can we show CBG our appreciation, please? I hope I'm not CBD. I'm not a CBD gummy. But to each their own if you want to do CBD gummies. Thank you, Kathleen, for the support. Kathleen is holding the fort down. Isn't it odd? Brian says, isn't it odd? And Kathleen is actually right. It takes like a quick second to hit the thumbs up. So I don't understand why people don't do it, to be quite honest. Brian, isn't it odd how quiet people are about the equity bull market we're in? Yeah, so we're definitely going to take a look at that. Because the stock market isn't going to go on a run and crypto isn't going to not do anything. If it is a risk-on environment, I don't care what the headlines are. If it is, there will be a narrative that fits the chart. I keep saying the narratives will fit the chart. The charts don't fit the narrative, okay? It works the other way around. There will be some narrative that comes into the market, whether it's Gensler gets fired, whether it's, which fucking fire Gary Gensler, whether it's Gensler gets fired, XRP wins the lawsuit, the Hinman documents come out tomorrow, the SEC drops their lawsuit against Coinbase. Whatever the narrative is that needs to fit the chart, it's going to happen because, yes, equities aren't going to be creating new all-time highs and crypto is just going to be left stagnant in the background. No, crypto will. History tells us this. This isn't my hope or just my belief. This is just what data tells us. Crypto is going to go on a monumentally harder run than equity markets. That's just what history tells us, okay? No matter, again, you can't have the level of downside volatility without the upside potential appreciation. Does that make sense? Maybe that's stated better. You can't have the downside risk and volatility you're seeing without the upside appreciation potential. Make sense? All right. Birov Kova. I almost feel like you're being appreciate the thumbs up, everybody. And that's all Kathleen. Kova, brother, what kind of move do you expect Bitcoin to do in the next 48 hours? I am not Nostradamus, so I could not tell you that. But I have shared with you what I expect for the month of June. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the next 48 hours. That would be pure speculation. I'm not that good. And no one is too. No one can tell you what Bitcoin's going to do in the next 48 hours. If you're following someone that is telling you that they know what Bitcoin's going to do in the next 48 hours, my advice to you would be to unfollow them. Okay, this is the total 2. Not much to report here. We broke down a below an area of prior support. But again, I want you guys to keep perspective on what is most important. Even though we're seeing weakness, we don't even need to look at the price indicators. We know what it's going to tell us, weakness and no momentum, right? The most important thing that I need you guys to focus on is we were way down here at the end of last year. Now we're way up here. What is this? This is a higher low. Look, higher low, okay? And we have a high up here that we need to take out. We need to come up into this region here. So again, while we're seeing weakness from a higher time frame perspective, when we zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out, we still have the higher lows in this case coming in. Technically 2 higher highs here, but I would just call this 1 high right here. So we really have still the higher lows coming in. Total 3, not surprisingly, this should not surprise you. This is expressing further weakness. These are all the altcoins. Take out Ethereum, take out Bitcoin, it's everything else, right? Smaller market caps. These smaller market caps, the ones down 20%, 30%, whatever they are, and the ones that have the greatest potential for 10x's, 20x's, 30x's, 50x's, 100x's. These are the ones that are going to experience the sharper downside volatility risk, and that's what you're seeing here. There's a lot of momentum that has just run out here. Look at this. MACD's down. The RSI is oversold at 35. Look at this stochastic RSI. I got to check this out. Let's look at this one together. I mean, the stochastic RSI. Look at this stochastic RSI. Look at how flat this thing is down here below 20. I mean, just no fucking momentum in here. Nothing. Okay? But again, okay. Again, once you see upside appreciation, look how quick this move is. I just level set the conversation here. Once we started to see a move here, okay, this was 4 months. This was 4 months of price action where we went from 127 billion up to 980 billion, okay? So we literally pulled an 8x in 4 months. Now, this is an 8x in total market cap. That is comprised of your bigger caps and smaller caps. That 8x return, okay, for your, on average for $1 to go to $9, okay, that is comprised of all of your altcoins. It's like a weighted average based on market equity, okay, capitalization, market capitalization value. You have 100x's, 50x's, 10x's, 5x's, 30x's, 40x's. They all get weighted together to come up with this 8x that took place in 133 days, guys, okay? So again, you have a long drawn out correction, and this is what has been. But this is why I'm here trying to keep you in the game here to stay level-headed, because even though, and look at this, look how far we've come down here. By the way, this low here is still lower than this one. This is still a higher low. This is still a higher low. It's almost the double bottom. It is almost the double bottom. You could actually argue this is double bottom. It's not. It hasn't hit the same level, but you could certainly argue this is a double bottom. And it's expressing weakness. There's no question about it. The total 3 is expressing a lot of weakness. We broke out. Look at this. We broke out from this descending resistance. We were retesting it, which is totally fine. Now we're expressing weakness. We're below here again. Now, where would I get concerned on total 3? Where I would get concerned is if we started to break below this area. And let's mark it here, okay? Because this was the low that we created right at the end of 2022, okay? That's a critical area. I don't want to see us go below there, okay? That is at we're going to call it 287, okay? It's 286.9 something. Okay, I'm not going to round that. Around 287, 286, all right? That is the area we don't want to go below. So yes, a lot of weakness in the chart. We still have higher lows. Just need to remain patient and see how price action responds accordingly over the next few months in what I believe will still be a very bullish month. I know it's hard to believe that based on human emotion. We looked at dominance. The significant thing I want to speak to on dominance, and I had tweeted replying to Credible Crypto that I had disagreed with his notion on what he saw for Bitcoin dominance. As you recall, we were in a valid descending triangle, as you recall. And I said, hey guys, you might look at this and you might say, what are you talking about? It's common when you evaluate patterns in charting to temporarily break the pattern but re-enter it, and then it becomes valid. Well, we broke out again, and now this thing has been invalidated, right? So as the price data has developed, what I've saw here was basically we're in this channel, okay? And I've said to you, look, we've backtested this area enough times that once we come down here again, this thing's going to break. I don't see this thing holding up at all around 39%. But the point is we're up here right now. And the most important thing to communicate to you is we closed above this area. This area is approximately at, we're going to call it 49%. So we closed the week above dominance at 49%. What that has increased the likelihood of is we're going to entertain another area of price confluence and resistance before we see a downtrend. And this is Credible Crypto's thesis, which I disagreed with many months back. I did not see this playing out. but I'm in the camp of seeing this as a heightened likelihood given what I'm seeing here. So what you could see temporary dominance rise right up in between 53 to 58%, right in this area. Now, what that would be suggesting to you, let's think about what would be occurring. What would be occurring is Bitcoin is running harder than all the altcoins, right? Bitcoin might be up some days 7, 8, 9%. Your altcoins are up 2 or 3%, right? 1%, flat, not doing anything. You're getting discouraged. You're like, oh my God, all the Bitcoin maxis were right. I should have sold all my altcoins for Bitcoin, and I want to become a Bitcoin maxi and believe in the 4-year halving cycle for the rest of my life. But then all of a sudden what happens is Bitcoin sort of pauses. It pauses, and then altcoins steal the show, and that's when dominance drops, right? I think there is a heightened probability for that. It'll be interesting to see if it plays out. And I have an area marked between 53 and 58%. What's up, Steady? You can also see I have a zone of resistance on the RSI that we're close to. It's between 72.5 and 77.5. The stochastic RSI looked like it wanted to cross up. At the moment, it's not crossing up, but it looked like it wanted to cross up, and the MACD is still positive. So we'll have to see over the coming weeks if we see some sort of surge up to this 53 to 58%. Very interesting to see if that plays out. Here's a chart that I haven't had an opportunity to really evaluate much. This is the USDT dominance. Every time we have a drop in, essentially the way you want to think of it is every time we have a drop in stablecoins, stablecoin value and Tether, that's when we generally see stablecoins deploy into the market, buying up projects, and the market runs, right? So we saw a huge drop in dominance here, big run in the market, drop in dominance, big run in the market, right? This is a drop in dominance for Tether. So what does that actually mean? It means, and again, I want to spend maybe a little bit more time evaluating this chart. I took a look at it for like a minute before the live stream. When we're real high up here, what does that mean? There's a lot of capital sitting in Tether waiting, and it's increasing, right? It's increasing. It's waiting to be deployed into the market. And then we see a drop because the money is fleeing Tether. It's leaving Tether, and people are converting Tether into Ethereum, into Harmony One, into whatever the hell project that you have, right? An altcoin, into Bitcoin, okay? So right now, and you can see the same thing here. We saw a drop from the beginning of the late last year into the beginning of this year, right? Right now, to be honest with you, and I want to take a little harder look at this, there's an argument to be made here, actually, that this is a pennant. So that would suggest further upside, okay? And you can see there's a general ascending area here. That would not be bullish. That would not be bullish for crypto. I mean, personally, what I see here is, and again, I've only evaluated the chart for like a minute, but I see a pole and then I see a pennant here, okay? And that could indicate a further pull. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but I want a little bit more time to evaluate this chart before I convincingly say anything about it. We're going to take a look at the traditional stock market real quick, because obviously that's going to have give us a symbol. Oh boy, guys, we have big news on the S&P. I haven't even been watching this. Big news on the S&P, and then I'm going to get to Kathleen has a question. It looks like Kathleen has a question we'll get to. Any other questions you guys have, drop them in the chat. Big day for the S&P. Very big day for the S&P. I wasn't even watching this, okay? Between work and, yeah, whatever else, just busy. Guys, this is not a candle body close, but what have I been telling you about the S&P, all right? At the end of this week, now, the S&P, the traditional markets close differently than crypto. The traditional markets close, I believe, at 4. I think it's 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to close the closing bell and the opening bell. I remember watching that when I was younger. I just do crypto now. I don't do the stock market. Anyway, I have spoken to the significance of 43.25. If Friday at 4 p.m., we can maintain any price area around where we're at, we are going to close. And it's because, again, right now you can see 43.39. I'm not ready to give a little celebration yet, because this candle is a weekly candle. This could end up being a wick, right? This could be some sort of wick up here, and then we close all the way down here. Okay, that would be a gravestone doji. That would not be good, all right? So we have to allow the week to finalize itself, which will be Friday at 4 p.m. But at Friday at 4 p.m., If this thing closes greater than or equal to 43.25, guys, this is extremely, extremely bullish, okay? I've talked about this 43.25 for a long time. The stock market is not going to go on a run without crypto. Brian is saying to look at NASDAQ, which we can do real quick here. Let's take a look at NASDAQ real quick. Oh, NASDAQ. I don't think I have the right chart up here. Why am I not seeing this? Let's see. I probably need to go here. There we go. I was looking at the wrong chart there, guys. That was a little confusing. I was like, what the hell was I even looking at? This is the NASDAQ 100. All right. Yeah, things are starting to get really juicy here. Things are starting to get really juicy. So this is NASDAQ. We have the 20. Now I'm using the same chart that I have for the S&P. We're coming up on NASDAQ. Again, guys, if you're wondering why I'm spending any time covering traditional markets here in terms of these broader indexes, okay, because that's what they are. All these things are indexes, the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones. They're all index funds that conglomerate all the stocks together. Why the hell are we wasting time on this? This is a crypto channel. Because then clearly you're new to this channel. You're new to this channel if you don't know, which is fine. I'm glad to have you here. Welcome in. The reason is because crypto and equity markets, which is what we're talking about. Equity markets are NASDAQ, it's S&P, it's the Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's stocks, okay? Stock market, crypto market. They are positively correlated. This is what history tells us. What does positively correlated mean? Positively correlated means that in general, they move in the same direction up and same direction down. This is why it's important to note that while crypto right now is stagnating, okay, and we're coming up against a key area of price confluence here on NASDAQ at about 14,900. It'll be interesting to see if we can get above 15,000 and maintain that level, all right? If there is strength coming into the stock market, that is giving us a clue, even though crypto is stagnating, that crypto is going to run, more than likely, okay, based on history. The other thing that I hit on this channel is when the stock market is doing well, think about investor sentiment, okay? The market, any chart that you look at is comprised of all the emotions. Everything's built into there. It's the retail, the institutional, individual, bot, algorithm trading. Everything is baked into that chart. If sentiment within the market is risk on, this is a fucking bull market. Nobody can stop this market. The Federal Reserve, the government, stepping in to save the banks because there will be more bank failures. I assure you of that. There's more printing of dollars. The government will always save us. If the sentiment is positive on the stock market, even though the real world economy might be going to hell in a handbasket, literally, that sentiment, as it turns bullish, is risk on. Do you think people want to invest in Arm & Hammer and fucking Colgate toothpaste? And no, people want the tech stocks. People want the crypto stocks, the penny stocks. People want risk on. They are risk on. They are willing to take their money and go risk on if the stock market's doing well. Because what is it saying? There's a greater likelihood, if we're in a bull market, we're going to see rates of appreciation up, right? And where can you make the most money? Greedy people. Where can you make the most money? Well, I'm going to fucking take all the risk I can because I'm going to get a higher rate of return going into the riskiest thing I can, right? That's why in a risk-on environment, your riskier plays do better, right? So very important to monitor these markets. Thank you, Brian, for pointing out the NASDAQ here is also on a little bit of a run here. It could get exhausted. At some point, I would expect some sort of pullback here. This has just been like, look at this here. This has just been like a straight parabola up. Do you see that? my kindergarten skills aren't, but you see how this is a straight parabola up? At some point, I would expect some sort of pullback and consolidation before a move up. But yes, very, very good to see. Let's get to your questions here. Very good to see the S&P, though. Very encouraging. I would love to see the S&P close above 43.25. I'm going to have myself a little drink to, just a little drink to celebrate, because we've been talking about 43.25 on this channel. Oh my God. Probably since back here in late 2022. I think since late 2022, I've been talking about 43.25. So yeah, that's a good like 7-8 months, right? So pretty big moment. So cautiously optimistic if we can close above 43.25. Oh boy, lots of questions here. Yeah, Kathleen, I appreciate your viewership. I don't think I'm going to be able to update you on on all of these charts right now. So how about we pick a couple here? Let's take a look at and the other ones that I don't get to, Kathleen. I know you'll be back tomorrow. You're a firm supporter of the channel. So just ask away tomorrow. I wanted to look at Chili's with you, because I was evaluating this one earlier. Look what just happened here. Okay? Again, certainly the downside action is taking me by surprise in terms of how much this thing has corrected. So expressing Chili's right now, a couple things going on, I would say. First off, Chili's is expressing without question a lot of weakness. This low here, you see the low coming in? And this is contributing to why, this is a great example of a chart that's negatively contributing to total 3, and why total 3 is really close to double bottoming and has arguably double bottomed. The reason we're so low here, we still have a higher low. A lot of these alts that corrected, you can say whatever narrative you want to yourself about the SEC to make yourself, to make sense of it. People will do that. But the point is there's a lot of weakness here. We took out the low from June of 22. We're all the way down here in 6 cents. So the question, a couple things to point out with Chili's here. The question you have to ask yourself, is this a monumental buy opportunity? Okay? Or is this thing going to zero? Okay? Well, let's answer that question. What I would expect at this point is there's a heightened likelihood. And let's try to see if there's an area of price confluence here. See what other areas. Okay, so there's an area right here. Do we actually bounce there? That'd be funny if we did. I haven't charted this out. There's definitely an area of price confluence right around here. You can see that once we got above this zone, you see this escalation in price. I'm not making this stuff up. This is, you see how, let's just focus on price action. I don't even want to look at price indicators, okay? Great question on Chili's. I'm glad you asked this, because I was actually charting this one out. You see how between these two gray horizontal lines, we couldn't get above it, but once we did, okay, we exploded to the upside. So there's price confluence there, and it looks like the price confluence is between 5.5 and 6.7 cents, right between 5.5 and 7 cents. And look what we've done now. We're in this zone, okay? So I think there's a couple possibilities for Chili's based on what I've drawn here. First off, this is a broadening wedge, which is, by the way, a bullish formation. So what it looks like we might be doing, there's kind of two possibilities I see. We're coming down to back test all the way down here. You could see a volatility wick go as low as 4 cents. I know, hard to believe, right? 4 cents, a weed you out candle, in my opinion, 4 cents. Or we certainly could maintain within this price region, knowing that there's price confluence here between 5.5 and 7 cents. Okay? Nothing has changed on my fundamental analysis or technical analysis in terms of price targets that I've spoken to with this thing. My view, again, I never offer financial advice on this channel. I'm just giving you my honest to God view on this chart. Okay, this is me assessing a chart and communicating to you what I see. I still see something very bullish here that has a potential to pull a very high rate of return going into the hype FOMO cycle. That is still my evaluation. But I think this thing has the possibility to go as low as even 4 cents. You can even see there's an area of price confluence right there too. Yeah, so 3.94 cents. I think that's certainly a possibility. You could see, man, you could see us maybe wick down this week. You could see a sharp, based on how the market recovers, you could see a huge wick here, and you could see us recover all the way back up to 8.8 cents or even 9 or 10 cents. We'll just have to remain patient. But definitely, on the one hand, a lot of weakness. Okay, but we are in an area of price confluence that does make sense, though. And again, I think there's two ways to look at this. This is either a great buying opportunity that is weeding a lot of shaky hands out, or this thing really is going to be disastrous and it could go much lower. Okay, there's really two ways to look at this. The other one I'm very quickly going to take a look at, and we'll probably call it a day because I see how long I've been charting now. Let's take a look at Mana. I had tweeted out earlier this morning that for me personally, Mana was way too of an attractive opportunity, and I reshifted some of my positions to accumulate more of it. I knew that the top end of this range was certainly possible when we were here. I did not think we would wick all the way down here at 31 cents. I scooped this thing up in the 33 point whatever the heck cent, or maybe it was 34.1 or I don't know, 33.9, whatever the hell it was. Point is, I didn't think we'd come down here. This is essentially a double bottom. Again, it's technically a higher low. This low went all the way down to 28.4. Here we went down to 31 cents. So, yeah, it's still a higher low. But, stochastic RSI, we have the cross down. We are above 20. RSI is oversold at 37. MACD hasn't crossed negative. This is a 2-week candlestick, actually. I just noticed I'm looking at 2 weeks. It'll be very interesting to see how this week closes out, because I will tell you this. And again, the higher time frames are the most important to focus on. If we get I'm not telling you we're going to get some monumental recovery this week, but I certainly think there's a strong possibility for it. If we get a strong recovery this week, because remember, if you need a narrative to make sense of the chart, the SEC might come out and blanket a bunch of projects and not give any explanation and say this is a security, and that's a security, and that's a security, and you're a security, because that's what Gary Gensler sounds like. Seriously, that is actually Gary Gensler. Apologies. Gary Tyrant Fucktard Gensler's natural voice. If you've actually heard him talk in public, he talks like this. I declare you a security, and you a security, and you a security. But he provides no rationale, right? It's fucktardery at its finest, right? Just knock on my door, and you can come register, says no one. The point is that whatever narrative you want to state here, you can also point to the fact that this is a United States regulation that's coming out, while crypto is international, right? Well, all the other countries are... there's a lot of other countries, I should say, that have a lot of regulations in place for this stuff. Mana is still going to thrive whatever the fuck the United States wants to do, okay? Point is, it wouldn't shock me one bit to see a wick come all the way up to an area of price confluence right around, say, here. Right up to, say, 43 cents. If we saw a recovery at 43 cents on a 2-week candlestick, I'll tell you right now what's going to happen on this chart. The stochastic RSI, first off, is going to cross up. The RSI is going to get closer up to 40, and the MACDs, you're going to see the histogram start to turn a heavier green. This is going to get a little bigger here, okay? So we'll have to see how this 2-week candlestick closes out. But again, for me personally, I believe in HBAR1 and Mana, the Holy Crypto Trinity. I have not wavered one bit in any of those 3 projects, okay? On record, consistently believing in those projects. This, to me, for me, not financial advice, okay? This thing could go to zero with the rest of the market. Everything could fucking go to zero, okay? There's a probability for everything. For me, great buying opportunity, okay? That's how I'm viewing it right now. So there isn't anything, as much as there's weakness in the market right now, a lot of weakness in the market, there isn't anything monumentally concerning to me that weeds me out. Again, I just look at this chart and I just say, this is one beautiful chart to me, okay? So not getting weeded out here. Guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I make time to do this every day, and I could not do it without you. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. Hopefully, there's a little bit more excitement in the market. We can get a little green action going on, a little maybe a green Jesus candle or two would be nice this week. I will make sure to allot enough time to answer your questions. I know I didn't get to everyone's questions today, but I will make sure to take care of my itchy nose. And I'll also make sure to answer all your TA questions tomorrow and leave plenty of time for it. So, again, have a good evening. Share this video with at least one person. And until next time, spread awareness, carry the education forward. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Thank you, guys and girls and everybody.